Hey guys, Chris with Fort Park here. Subject that I wanted to talk about today, a little bit different, something that we haven't discussed before, is what does the typical day of a Strata agent look like? So people ask me this all the time, and it follows a pattern. Of course, every day is going to be different. It's really going to depend on the day of the week and kind of what new buildings are coming on or changes in portfolios, things like that, emergencies, but it does follow a certain pattern. So typically the first thing that most agents, I would say, would do would be when they log on in the morning. Maybe it's 8 o'clock, something like that. Maybe it's 9 o'clock. They're going to log on. They're going to look at their emails. So they're going to sift through their emails, and depending how long it's been since they've logged on, there could be maybe 100, there could be a couple hundred. If it's been over a weekend or a long weekend, there could be 300 or 400 quite easily. So you're going to sift through those and identify if there's any emergencies. Probably check voicemails as well to see if there's any emergency calls that came in the night before or over the weekend. So you're going to do that. You're probably going to answer some emails, sort of get organized that way. That might take an hour or two to just kind of triage the emails. Big part of a Strata agent's job is email, working their way through emails. So then it would be like dealing with any emergencies. If there's a water leak, or if there was a fire, or something that's an insurance claim, something big like that that's going to cause damage to the property, or safety issues, those are going to get dealt with first in priority sequence. So if the agent has 15 different buildings, maybe there's only one emergency, hopefully, and then they'll deal with that one first. If there's multiple emergencies, then it would be triaging the emergencies. Next would be dealing with anything that's urgent. So maybe not an emergency thing, but something that's very timely. Maybe some forms have to get signed off on because they've got a closing. Or maybe there's an AGM package that has to get out. Something like that that's urgent, that's timely, that needs to be done. Next, probably returning phone calls. So if there's voicemails that came in, maybe returning those. And then really getting into the more proactive part of the day. So the first few hours, maybe half of the day, is only going to be reacting to situations and emergencies. Then finally, you're going to be, hopefully before lunch, you can get to the proactive side, which is looking at your agenda, whether that's an electronic, we use project management software for that, or maybe you're old school, you've got a day planner or something like that. Just kind of your to-do list and what you have to do that day. It could be attending to meeting directives. It could be planning out a meeting, maybe an agenda or an AGM or something to that effect. Securing quotes for various things. So, that would probably take up sort of the middle part of the day. But there isn't, unfortunately, a lot of time for proactivity because you're dealing with emergencies and urgent things all the time that just pop up that need to be placed in a higher priority sequence. Throughout the day, you're probably going to be meeting with various teams, maybe the accounting team if you've got a question or something you need to go through. Maybe your whole team is meeting. Maybe you're meeting with your assistants, your administrative assistants, or with your managing broker or something like that. So that'll take you into kind of the end of the day-ish. Then the late afternoon, is probably when most people would go through their emails. So this can take, anywhere between 2 and 3 hours to clean up, depending on how many emails you've had from the day before. So that might be from like 2 o'clock until 5 o'clock, sort of the end of the day. And then depending what you have on schedule in terms of council meetings, very often you'll have 1 or 2, maybe 3 council meetings during the week. You're going to either go to the site after that for the council meeting, or most likely now we're doing most of our meetings via Zoom and online platforms. So you're going to go home, maybe get yourself a snack, something like that, and then log on again at 6:30 and do your hour and a half council meeting, and maybe that goes till 8 o'clock, 8:30, something like that. So they can be very long days, especially if there's a council meeting that day. You're probably working a 12-hour day. Not every day is a council meeting day, so that would be a more typical 9 to 5 type hours office. So I hope that helps a little bit, gives you a little bit of insight into a Strata agent's day. They're not easy, and every day is pretty much like that. There's none that, there's some where there's no emergencies that happen, but every day would be pretty similar to that. So definitely not a job if you don't want to work very hard, but it can be very rewarding. You can help a lot of people. and it can be a very, very steady and lucrative career choice. So reach out, please like and subscribe, and reach out if you have any further questions.